Hey everybody, it's Tom Sheehan of the Sheehan Real Estate Group of Compass here with your 2025 quarter three market update for Greater Boston. We're going to talk about what's going out there in the Greater Boston real estate market, what's going on with prices, what's going on with inventory, what's going on with mortgage rates, all the information you need to know so you are up to date on what is happening in the Greater Boston real estate market. And as is always the case, we start out with the median sale price of a single family home in Greater Boston, which was $1 million at the end of quarter three, which we count as September. That was a 3% increase from quarter three of 2024 when it was $968,000. Now, this isn't the first time we've hit the median sale price of $1 million, but generally that's happening in the spring when prices spike. So this is just a continuation of appreciating prices for single family homes in Greater Boston. Now that 3.3% increase is a little bit smaller than we had previously seen, but in October, which we just got those numbers just now, it looks like it bumped up to 5% year over year. So we saw a little bit of an increase in market activity in October compared to September, which marks the official end of Q3, but October still, that fall market, still important data there. In the Greater Boston condo market continues with its struggles. We saw an actual decrease in the year over year sale price of a condo in Greater Boston, down 4% to $710,000. So you can see by that graph, we tend to tick up, and we do have some lowering at times of the price, but not generally on a year over year basis. So that's a big news in the condo market. That is definitely where we've seen the softening of the real estate market, and that continues to be the case. Now, when we looked at October numbers, we did see an actual flat year over year median sale price. So a little bit of a recovery in October, similar to what we saw in the single family market, but still a clear sign that the condo market is the softer of the two markets in Greater Boston. New listings of single family homes, the inventory, you've been hearing me talk about this for a long time. Inventory is our problem. We don't have enough homes for sale. We saw a little bit better third quarter of 2025 when compared to 2024, up 6.7%. Not a huge jump in the number of homes, but more is better than less, especially when you're talking about the inventory environment we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. And in condos, we saw a big jump. We saw a almost 13% increase year over year for Q3 of 2025 when compared to Q3 of 2024 for the number of new condo listings. Now, active listings, this isn't just the new listings. This is taking the new listings and stacking them on top of the active listings and listings that aren't necessarily new in the quarter but have been held over from the previous quarter. And this is where we see a good jump, a 16% more active inventory in Q3 compared to Q3 of 2025 compared to Q3 of 2024. So what that says is we are stacking some inventory. We're not seeing necessarily a huge jump in the number of new listings, but there are listings that are hanging around and not getting purchased by buyers. So it's stacking on top of each other, which is an indicator of a softer single family market than we've been used to. And you can see it here in the condos, up 26% year over year, the active condo inventory. So that's new listings in addition to the previous listings that didn't get an offer. So definite continued signs of a softer condo market in Greater Boston. And continued signs of softness, days on market up 11%. So last year, at the end of the third quarter, the days on market of a closed sale averaged 18 days. Now it's 20 days. So nothing dramatic, but it's an increase and another sign that things are a little softer than they were last year. And that's even more clear in the condo market where the average days on market was up 5 days, 21 last year, 26 this year, a nearly 24% increase in the days on market. So more listings, more choices for buyers allows more time to make a decision, and good for buyers, not necessarily good for sellers. Now, the number of closed sales, as you can see from this graph, we have been for the last couple of years below average, and we saw a slight uptick in the number of closed sales of Q3 of 2025 compared to 2024, a 5% increase. So about 100 more homes were sold this past quarter compared to previous year. Again, not a huge number. And when you consider that we've seen a slight tick up of inventory, you might expect there to be a higher number of sales. But again, showing we have discerning buyers out there. They're not willing to buy just anything, and they are enjoying the choices and not being rushed to just snap up anything that's on the market. And a little surprising, we saw just a slight increase in the number of condo sales in the same quarter from last year. Again, when we consider the inventory numbers, there's a lot of choices out there for condo buyers, and so they're still buying properties at a slightly higher rate than last year, but certainly not a dramatic amount. And here's a big one: mortgage interest rates. Now, as you'll see here, this is for the past 3 years, and so we are well beyond that almost 8% peak we saw at the end of 2023. We haven't had the dramatic drops that many people have been hoping for, and maybe there were some signs of at the end of last year when we got close down to 6%. Now, last year when we saw that drop in interest rates, we saw a lot of that pent up inventory that had been accumulating get gobbled up really fast. As you can see this year, we are pretty close down to those same numbers. And based on the October numbers and those Q3 numbers, we haven't seen the same level of buyer activity that we saw last year. The active inventory for October was up 20% for single family homes and up around the same amount for condos. So these drop in interest rates that you see here in this last month or so has not resulted in a lot of buyers coming off the sidelines and being motivated to buy a home, which is a difference from the end of 2024 when we saw an accumulation of inventory, but that drop in interest rates motivated a lot of buyers to get off the sidelines and buy a home. We're just not seeing that same level of increased activity as a result of the mortgage interest rates dropping this year. All right, so what's this mean to you? Well, it depends if you're a buyer or a seller. If you are a buyer, considering the inventory and the market conditions where we have accumulating number of homes listed for sale, both single families and condos, we have dropping interest rates, and we're nearing that dreaded time of winter, this really is a great buying opportunity for you if you're a buyer. And if you're a buyer that's not seeing things that really are appealing to you at your price point, at this point, given the timing of the market, when we're only a few weeks away from the winter market, when market activity falls off a cliff, don't be afraid to look slightly above your budget and seeing if there's something that's appealing there, because there's a decent chance you might be able to secure that home at a price that is within your budget. And to that point, don't be afraid to try to be greedy. You can make a lowball offer at this point, especially on a property that's been sitting on the market, and just test the seller's motivation. There's definitely some risks associated with doing that your buyer's agent should be able to explain to you and help you manage whether or not it's a good decision or not. But give it a shot. See that level of motivation that the seller has, and you might find yourself getting a deal that you had no idea was even possible. Now, if you're a seller or a potential seller, understand the market conditions. Understand that we have a lot more inventory that's piling up on itself. Understand that we have a increasing number of days on market. Understand that these drop in interest rates haven't necessarily motivated buyers to rush off the sidelines and start snatching up houses. Know what your options are from your own timeline. Can you afford to spend weeks and weeks and weeks on the market? Can you tolerate what that would involve in terms of having your home ready to show to potential buyers? What can you tolerate from a days on market standpoint, and how should that influence where you price your property and how you structure the timeline going forward? And if you don't think you can tolerate a slower sale market right now in a situation where you might have more days on market and needing to make your home available for buyers for more than just 1 week and maybe multiple weeks, and in some cases maybe even a month or two, then maybe you should consider whether or not this spring, which is much more favorable to sellers, is a better time to list your home. We certainly cannot predict the future, and there's a lot of economics uncertainty out there. So who knows, come spring, we might be in a completely unexpected circumstance. But generally speaking, in the Northeast, the spring is the best time to sell because it's when we see the most number of buyers out there in the market and we see the most competitive market. So that's it. That is your Q3 market update for Greater Boston. As I say in every video, everyone's situation is unique to them and requires a unique strategy. So if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate over the next year, let's reach out, let's have a conversation, and we can structure a strategy that works best for you. And as always, thanks for watching.